That's when things happen. I don't have to. Yeah, sorry, can't jump into slavery.
All right, team, let's get started. We'll start the same way every time. Our vision, and we believe in creating an authentic environment built on the foundation of productivity and collaboration to inspire our people to achieve their business goals and design a legacy worth leaving. Say it every month, every 2 weeks, whatever it is that we do these. We're always seeing this come alive, and that's one of the awesome things about being involved in the office. So a huge thank you to all of you. We have a action-packed day. We're going to talk about all the things that we have coming up. We've got a lot of really good trainings. The ALC, more specifically, the education committee on the ALC, has done an amazing job at going to our top agents, exposing some of the things that they've been doing at a really high level, and winning with, and then asking them to teach classes on those models, those systems, those playbooks. And they're much more workshop-based classes, which was something that a lot of people want. So that's exciting. We're also going to talk about kind of an extension of what we talked about last team meeting, which was the idea of value-based conversations versus transactional-based conversations, and how to think about those, and then how to implement those at an even higher level so that we have low rejection in our database conversion, right? And that we're always leading with value, and we're always reaching out to our database. Has anyone heard of the rule of four? The rule of four. You remember what it is, Jan? Maybe like in the middle of eating. So they did a study, and 80 to 85% of top agents' businesses come from just 4 lead generation sources. And when we actually look at agent businesses, and we have Jeff and myself had the opportunity to be intimately involved in a lot of the businesses within the brokerage, there are a lot more than 4 in each real estate agent's businesses. However, that rule of 4 always tends to show up in most of their businesses come from just 4, but they're focusing on 10. So we're going to have a conversation about how to kind of reset, reevaluate, simplify, and then ensure that we're putting our time to the right things and not working harder, but just simply working better. And outside of that, we can't do great things without great partners. So come on. Thank you. Good say. You too. Let's give a hand.
Well, thank you for having me again, and good to see you guys. I want to make this easy on you again. You all know what property management is. My mission is to be your best referral firm. I want to earn your trust. I want you guys to know that you can trust me with your clients, that we take a good job of them. We're good stewards of this city. We'll take care of them and their tenants and the whole thing. We reward referrals $500 if we close the contract. You are all licensed real estate agents. I can give you that legally or according to the real estate commission. We preserve your lead. We tie it in with that lead, with that property. When we hear they're going to buy or sell down the line, we send it right back to you. Think of us as your partners and your lead preservation system. Any questions for me? We only do residential property management. Single family homes are our sweet spot, so we are great to work with you guys. Send them our way. Lately, a lot of people have not been able to sell properties. They're competing with development in the King Bay area, anywhere there's new development. The last person I just closed, she had her property on the market since November. Who's up in the Nexton area. She moved out of state, so the property's been vacant for 6 months. You're able to find a qualified tenant in 7 days, rent it for $2,500 a month. Let's break that down. Every single day a $2,500 property is vacant, that's $83 per day in lost rental income. Over a week, that's $587. Over 6 months, it's $15,000 in lost rental income that she paid out of pocket for a vacant property. So people are struggling to sell right now because the equity hasn't gone up. If it was a post-COVID purchase, they would have to go to the closing table with money to actually get that house sold. There's a lot of that. So if you guys can't sell these listings, send them my way. We'll take care of them. And then in a year or 2 or 3 or whenever it's time to sell, you'll get them back and then you can make you sell.
What's the minimum amount of days that you'll do? 30 and above, 36?
1 year.
Year's your minimum?
Right now, because of the market, we will work with people. 6 months is really the lowest I'll go. But, you know, once this market changes, it's going to here.
Any other questions?
Yeah, all right, so for show of hands, please, who wants to participate in the raffle? Who wants to be in it? Raise your hand and keep them up. Anyone, if you want to, I've got $100 gift card, I've got a tumbler and a power bank. Raise everybody put the card in here. Nope. All right, I'm gonna give you guys numbers.
Oh, no.
Because I don't have everyone's cards, but I want, you want to participate, please.
What's that?
1, 2,
11. Yep.
No.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I learned last time the best way is to do the best price first, so you don't feel like you got two. All right, so the $100 gift card. Number between 1 to 10. Number 6. However, the number between 1 to 10. 9. Bravo. The number between 1 to 10. 4. Which is
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Anyways, my name is Brandon Paul. I'm the owner and property manager in charge of All County Foundation Property Management. I'm the 86th office in the country. Nationwide, we manage over 30,000 single family homes. I've been with All County for about 10 years. I am a franchisee of them now for about 3 months. And we're here for the long term. My family, my sisters are here in town. My niece is here, planting my roots here. I'm going to be in some real till I die. So, Prom. Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
86 was my hockey number, so that's good enough. Love it. Love it. So one of the things we're gonna actually talk about is this idea of why people buy and sell. And we just heard a really good point. Sometimes it doesn't make sense for somebody to sell. And as a fiduciary, and as somebody that wants to grow sustainable business into the future, being the individual to organize and apply the information that we have at our hands, specifically market data, local market data, micro market data, and helping advise and organize that information and advise clients in what makes sense for their goals, sometimes isn't transact, which actually benefits us as the real estate agent long, as compared to coming in with transaction risk and commission risk and saying, hey, let's just get this thing sold, even though you're going to end up at the table. So having great partners like All Country and being able to say, hey, maybe it makes sense for the next year to rent and then reevaluate based on the goals that you have is actually a really good way to build our business. And there are a lot of stories inside of our office. I remember somebody with Tara Pacive. I don't know if she's I think she's in referral because she's building a different business. Yet, one of the things she did in the past was she had a great relationship with Mercedes-Benz. And for a year, she really didn't do a lot of transactions, but she did a ton of rentals. And she helped people that were relocating, getting the rental properties because it made sense. And then years 2, 3, and 4, her business exploded and was doing $6, $7, $8 million a year thereafter. So it's a great way with partners to build a business. So thanks. With that said, gratitude, it's hard to come by sometimes. It is massively important. So fill somebody's bucket. Who's somebody that's helped you? Somebody that's been like in your corner. Or maybe you had a win recently. Like I just saw a DA come across my desk the other day. What was his name? Craig? I think it was Craig. He sold a $7.5 million house.
Wow.
Pretty awesome,
Mhm.
right? Well, that's a win. So who's got a bucket to fill or a win that they want to just brag on, or maybe something that they're grateful for? Give me three.
I'll go. I just appreciate our brokerage. Joseph went through I went through a really rough transaction last week, 2 weeks, and Joseph helped me keep hid when I wanted to not keep a level head, and we ended up getting through it. So it's just nice to have, and there were other people, that other agents that I had to rely on to, help get through that. So I just appreciate it, and it just makes a world of difference to have a brokerage full of people who really care, and a broker who can help you down from a high level. Anxiety.
Not that transaction, we were talking about it a lot. He was very impressed by the way you handled yourself through it, so take a lot of pride in that, but who's right? And who else got one?
Okay, thank you to Kristen. She is the most amazing person. She helped move everything out of that Somerville office, organized it. And even when I went back on Sunday to rip up the carpet, she had already done it. Like,
Wow.
Way to go, Teresa.
Wow.
Then we're about to move in Somerville. We are just right around the corner from finally being able to move in. It is gorgeous. That is a testament to Quickly. She has done an unbelievable job of building this thing from the ground up. When we went into this space and signed the LOI, through a bunch of negotiation, it became apparent that we were going to do the build out. And that man, Kristen, was going to do the building. It looks impressive. And it looks amazing. So we're right around the corner. We're hoping for it's probably going to be the end of June, beginning of July. And it looks amazing. We already have most of the spaces rented out. If you're interested, let us know. And it's going to be an awesome, energetic, collaborative space, and we're really excited about it. So it's been years coming, that's for sure. Give me one more.
I'll go. She's not here, but Jessica Lucas, I help her out, and I really just, she answers questions for me on the side. She helps me buy groceries some weeks when I'm trying to work to build my business. So I'm just extremely grateful to have her as a friend and a partner now.
Let's give Jessica. That's like literally one of my favorite people on the earth. She has such a big heart. And she's grown an amazing business in multiple locations over the years. So her husband's in the military, serves for our country, and now she's really on the investment side. She does a lot on the investment side. She's always an individual that if you gave her a call, she'll help. So it's a huge testament. I haven't heard her name in a while in Charleston, which is fun. What's next? All right. Anybody new to the market center in the last 30 days, 60 days? Not here, maybe on the Zoom world. Well, give them a hand. So our top performers for the month of May, rip through this real fast, but we've been leading the way. Let's give everybody a hand. I see Snook, I see Janet here, and the Susie Cop team representing. So let's give them a hand. And the top teams. We're gonna go to the Bird group. Waverly and Bill, that's awesome. And Scott leading the way. Let's give Alan up there. And our top individuals, Stella with a great month in the month of May. And Joan Mitchell leading the way. Let's give all of them a hand. Kelly, come on, teach us about something. Let's give Kelly a hand.
So, a lot of people lately, and investing in real estate has been a huge hot topic. And I have been asked by probably several people in this room, even about the DSCR loan. So that's what I kind of wanted to share about a little bit today. We're going to talk about the DSCR loans, the magic of the 25%, and some unpopular ways to prepare for investing that you can always post on, give you some content to post. So if we go to the next one. Okay, so the DSCR loan, when you are a real estate investor, if you come to me and want to do a traditional loan to verify through tax returns, we have to calculate your income. If you are a real estate agent, you probably write off a lot of things. I'm jealous of you But I don't blame you. You can write off so much, but that makes your income look like this. Okay, so if you wanted to do a traditional loan, it can be hard to go buy that next house. A DSCR loan is great because all I need is an appraisal to show me what the market rent is. And we have to have a mortgage payment at 75% of that market rent or better. So ideally, the new mortgage payment, including taxes, insurance, and HOA fees, is equal to or less than the market appraisal rent. So if it's $2,000 on the appraisal, we want that payment to be $2,000. Okay? That's pretty much it. That's how you qualify.
Mhm.
And decent credit. Like you can't have a bunch of late fees on your current mortgage, so don't do that. But it can be a great loan program, super easy to qualify for. Rates historically have been really bad for these, but they have gotten so much better over the last 6 months. They're competing with a conventional loan now. So it can be a great option to go buy some real estate. So it's great for those self-employed borrowers, especially if you are working with a self-employed borrower, or if you have a subcontractor, so you have a painter that you work with all the time, an electrician, a plumber. Those people make a lot of money and don't know where to put it. If you have not had a conversation with them about, hey, can I help you figure out how to invest this money? We've got somebody who can help rent out the houses right here, so you don't have to do that part. But this can be a great way to talk to those contractors who have a ton of money, ton of cash sitting there about buying real estate for investment. Yes, sir.
So let's suppose that I have a contractor cannot qualify for a loan because they don't have documentation or something like that. They can buy one of these.
So if they don't have documentation, that gets a little bit iffy. But a lot of the more reputable ones, they at least have a social security number.
Yeah.
So then we can do something like this, yes.
So what if they buy an investment property using a DSCR and then 2 years later they go and live in it?
At closing, I do not recommend doing mortgage fraud.
It's not for
You
us.
heard me all say that.
They bought it as an investment, but then things change.
So you heard me say that, but they sign their intent at closing to invest. If that intent changes, I can't do anything about that.
Okay.
So, loan option.
I recently heard that you guys, or for the DSCR, you do not care about debt to income.
I don't even put income on the application. We don't put employment history, we don't put income on it. We also don't pull in all your monthly debts on your credit report, only your current mortgage history. That's it. So we don't want any of that on the application. It also gives me an easy application. This and loans, my two favorite. And so it's great for the self-employed borrowers, and it's great for somebody if they have 5 rental properties. We're getting into kind of that realm where they might not qualify traditionally, or they're going to be aggravated with at me when I'm asking for leases and all this kind of stuff. We just switch them over to this. And I ask them for proof of down payment, reserves, credit report, and a driver's license.
And it has to be 25% down.
So that's the next slide.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be. You can do it with 15% down. But when we get into that realm, we're running into the risk. The market rent is not going to qualify because the market rent is going to be a lot lower than that mortgage payment with only 15% down. But when we get to our magic number of 25% down, most people don't like to hear this, but 25% down will make your life easy. The rent and the market appraisal come back more even. You get better interest rates. You get a quicker turn time. So 25% down. And even if you're doing a conventional investment, 25% is so much money on the interest rate. I recommend it if somebody wants to do it right and not rush it, 25% down should be the goal. Because it just helps with all of these things, more financing options, smoother underwriting, better cash flow for the property as well. So it's just a really great thing. So when you're coaching somebody in real estate, talk about saving money. Let's get off the whole, there's so much stuff on the social media out there that you can buy investment properties with 10% down. You can't. It is a hassle, it is a process, and you're gonna pay so much money. The rent is not gonna cover your mortgage payment. So it ends up turning people into negative cash flow situations. People end up foreclosing on them because they really couldn't afford that home in the first place. Make sense?
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you care where the funds come from?
In some cases, they can come from a gift. If they come from a loan, we want to document that that's a real estate tied loan, not a fixed real estate. An equity line is fine, but not a personal loan that they went and got. That's at 18%. We don't want that. Or retirement funds, we've used that too.
Okay.
So this can be a great win. And the next one I could go here. Okay, best plan when you're talking to investors. So if you want to get into this investor ground, you start coaching your people how to invest. This is kind of the magic formula. These are things you should tell people about. So 25% down payment will save you a lot of grief and time and help improve the cash flow on your property. Because cash flow is very important when you're doing a property. You want to have money set aside. So the big thing here, and it kind of goes with all of them, you don't have money to save your money. So initial repairs, you want to make sure that you can make those repairs to make the house livable. You want to make sure that you've got 6 months or more worth of reserves. Because what if that house doesn't rent? Or what if you move somebody in and they don't pay the rent and then it takes 6 months to get them back out? I've had people that happen. So 6 months or more worth of reserves and closing off. So when you're having that conversation, I think I got one more slide. Talk to people about saving that 25% down, how to improve their credit score. If you don't know how to do that, just tell them to call me. I can do that. I've been doing that for 20-something years. Eliminate their consumer debt, because the less debt they have, the better their credit score is going to be. Also, if you don't have your finances under control, you shouldn't go start buying other properties. So pay off your debt, get debt free but your house, and then we can focus on investing in real estate. Build your cash reserves, stock away money, find ways to just save money. I save 25% of every paycheck. And in some months that is really, really hard. But it goes automatically because that's what I've been told to do. Learn your target market. So get with everybody, learn the market. And then know the difference between owning 1 rentals and 5 rentals, and get off TikTok. And tell people to not pay attention to arbitrage and all those things, because it's going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more in the long run if you're not prepared. So my recommendation is put this information there for your social media to share. Let me help you get prepared to invest in real estate. You might not want to do it today, but if you want to do it in the next 10 years, 1 year, 10 years, whatever, let's map out a plan. Be my person, let me help you, type thing. And that goes along with what Vince was just saying about people starting the process early with people will gain that trust and you'll grow hugely. That was my point today. Hopefully that's what I did. Okay. And we all like good food and sometimes a drink or two. So join us in Somerville. You're going to be there on June 24th. We've rented out the patio at Le Chef. So there's fans out there, there's tents, so it's not hot, but it's great French food and it's just delicious. They have cocktails for us, wine, and we're just going to get out there and kind of have a relaxing meet and great afternoon on the 24th. Thank you.
Go ahead. Awesome. So I think one of the most amazing things about listening to, like, even just what we listen to, they are literally just arrows in our quiver, so to speak. Our responsibility is solve people's problems, make them feel good. Not being educated, one, about the market, and then, which is really just understanding the problems that are out there. And then 2, having partners, not being the expert, but having partners that we can go and rely on that are the experts allows us to solve people's problems and build our business in a more creative way. And in a way that actually serves the consumer. And it's right now, investor, like for the last 10 years, like forever, everything about investing, it's always so sexy. Everybody wants to do it. You look on Instagram, my entire feed is filled with people renting Airbnbs that do all this stuff, right? Oh, I don't have to, I went and you can find whatever arbitrage opportunity people are talking about, but you don't hear about the unsexy ways that they actually had to go and create those opportunities, right? So we have to be experts in our corner is paramount to our success. So with that said, we have our No Agent Left Behind challenge that's being run by our ALC. So this is all about bringing value to agents, right? Bringing value to those outside of our community at Keller Williams, and having a way to not only win cool prizes, but to build our downlines and to choose the individuals we want to be in business with. There are a lot of people that are outside Keller Williams that maybe the models and systems can help build sustainable businesses and change their lives that maybe we haven't talked to or been in a relationship with that you have. So this is a great opportunity to, let's call it, incentivize our agents to help just think a little bit more about, hey, who do I want to be in business with? And maybe it makes sense for me to have a conversation with them and connect them with Jeff or myself or anybody on the leadership team to talk about a business plan. I was talking to my coach yesterday, and every one of our coaching sessions tend to come back to this idea of all this glitzy, glamorous stuff in our industry right now actually doesn't matter. It's all going to change in 10 months, 12 months, 24 months. It's all going to be something new. And yes, some of it does change, and the approaches and the processes might change to an extent, but it's still, from a broker standpoint and from a real estate agent standpoint, about setting a plan based on a goal that we have, identifying how to get there with a model, one that's proven, that works into the future, having a collaborative environment, and executing with accountability on that. That's really what real estate business or any business is about, right? So connecting with agents that really want to get into that mentality is important to us. So we have some also, if you scanned this, you'll get all the qualifications of the program. You'll also learn about the things that you can win. I think there's a mega camp ticket in there. There's coaching sessions with maps. There's photo shoots. There's all kinds of cool marketing stuff. And then there's also free office tours. Heard that's pretty good. So make sure you participate. We would love for you to participate. And you'll hear more from Renee and Mike on this as well.
Okay.
Let's talk about land.
I will. If you have not heard by now, DocuSign is going away July 14th. Please plug in to Holly's classes. Well, here's another note. She put these on. All transactions need to be through Lone Wolf by July 1st. That's our deadline. If you started transactions in DocuSign and you are not under contract, you'll need to make a new opportunity. Big one. So that's, yes. The office is mass exporting all room documents. So anything not in your room, you are responsible for downloading out of DocuSign. Okay. And then remember to download any personal documents from DocuSign, as you will not be able to recover them after July 14th. So those are Holly's little segments. And then also all of her opportunities to learn about Lone Wolf. There's something every day. So please take advantage of it. Monday, she is a virtual Zoom option. Tuesday, she is in person. Wednesday, she is virtual. Thursday, virtual. And Friday, in person. So plenty of opportunities to learn about this. I know it's not fun, but you never want to get in a situation where you have not learned how to do this and you need to send a document right away, because that's not fun. So July 14th is the last day. Everyone hear me? July 14th. Okay. All right. Let me move this a little bit.
Holly has been meeting with people every day
Yeah.
on integrating in the loop. And we've been doing, and she's been doing it for 69 weeks. So if
She's an expert.
she's in it, and she's spent so much time understanding it to make our agents' lives easier. Yes, change sucks. And it is inevitable, right? It is the only thing that's almost guaranteed, other than death and taxes, right? So change is okay, and this change really is a positive change.
It's great.
It is great.
It's a neat program.
And it's built specifically for real estate on my DocuSign. So I know it stinks and change is hard, and I promise it will be better. And you have the resources at your fingertips with those classes and just one-on-one polish. You better make it that good.
Yeah. All right. So the next one in the series of Mastering the Buyer Consultation, Allison Salmon is going to be doing this on this coming Monday. Please sign up for this. She crushes it. She's on a team. However, she has done a ton of production through a lot of her sphere, and she's going to be a great one to learn from. They've got their systems down pat. So please, if you're on a team, come to this, learn some different techniques as well. It's going to be great. If you're an individual agent, you should absolutely be at this too. She's been in the business for a number of years. So would you like to talk
Yeah,
about
so did anybody go to did anybody go to Sean Cleary's buyer consultation class? Yeah, okay, great. So what's really cool, one of my favorite things about real estate is how unique each business can be. All built on the same model of serve buyers and sellers, right? More specifically, go find. Yet the way that we serve is always going to be different person to person, and that's what's going to attract the individuals in our sphere or then choose to work with us. Learning from different individuals that are succeeding in, say, the buyer consultation, but have different approaches is super valuable. And they're both winning, but they both do it different. So even if you went to the buyer consultation class with Sean, go to this too, and take what is authentically you from each class. And that's important to kind of differentiate.
Yep.
Is this the West Ashley office?
Yes. Yep. All right. Next one. We had a lot of requests from that they couldn't make it to the divorce clients free CE that Kelly offered, I believe a month ago. You said a month ago? Last month. So please, this is another opportunity to get this 2 free CE, credit hours. And it's kind of something that you need. I know a lot of people do work with divorce clients, and I think this will be a great one to help you navigate those interesting transactions. But yeah, we had a lot of requests, so we're putting it on again, June 24th in the West Ashley office. All right, and then the next in the series, so we have we're going every other month, buyer consultation, and then also listing appointment. So Bill will go through, and this is kind of the same flow in each of these, just buyer focused or listing focused. They go through how they prepare for the meeting, whether it's someone super analytical or doesn't want all the details, how they prepare for that. They'll go through the mock presentation side of things, so right in front of you how they do it, and then the follow-up to win the listing or the buyer. So Bill he's super knowledgeable. He's been in the business since the 80s. I know. Well, he's specialized in what's the planner community. So he's going to bring a ton of knowledge from estate planning to attorneys and all that good stuff. So he's a good one to learn from because he's been through all the seasons of every shift. But this will be July 13th. The next one, CMA Lab, will have that July 20th with Shantae. She will give out typically an address closer to, and she'll have y'all go through your own CMA for that property, and then you'll go through it in the class and kind of go through it. We got one for you, Christina. And then Q2 market recap. So this one's going to be at DR Horton, Vince. This is July 23rd. We're getting it on people's radar early so that you can block it off. These are super valuable. People use these in their presentations, buyer presentations, listing presentations. We just had the market update, which was national data, and this will be local data with tons of charts and stuff that you can use in your presentations. Anything you want to touch on?
So. I haven't, but I'm sure I'm similar to what it was at K2. It'll be great. And then my favorite thing about it is one, it's very action based, right? Yes, it's numbers based, but it's very action based in how we can use this data to show people the real numbers as compared to listening to all the talking heads on Instagrams or TikToks and Facebooks and whatever else is out there. Right. There is so much information right now. Having the right information and being the individual with the right information is massively important to organize and apply information for others. That's what people think. So go to that, I guess.
All right.
July 23rd.
July 23rd.
All right, Jeff, come on up. I'm Jeff Hand.
That's all I have to do.
My hand, it's, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah.
My hand.
Kristen Hand. Kristen has told me for like 8 years. Oh, 7
But
7 years.
I've been with Kennedy for 8.
Yeah, dealt with me.
Then you came into my realm. Everything changed.
A true blessing. Oh, boy. Tell you what, I mean, our disagreements are something just have to witness, though. It's awesome. So we're going to talk about this idea of finding the motivator. So last week we talked about, or a couple weeks ago, we talked about value-based versus transactional-based conversations and the importance of value-based conversations. And the reason we talk about that is because when we look around the room, we tend to realize that a lot of agents set these goals at the beginning of the year. And then halfway through the year, we look back and we realize that we're not on track for our appointment goal, right? There are lead and lag measures. Does anybody know the difference between lead and lag measures? Right? What's a lead measure?
How many phone calls you make?
There you go. That's a great example measure, or how many appointments you go on. And more lead to that is how many contacts or dials you make, right? And then a lag measure would be what?
How much money you made?
How much money, closings, right? So without the lead measure, I can't get to the lag measure. And we tend to lose sight at times of the lead measure because we get behind the lead. And a lot of times it's because it's harder. It's hard, right? It's simple, not easy. So having low resistant ways to get in front of our database more specifically is really important. Like for example, what did we talk about last month? The real estate success plan. Being a fiduciary in our clients' lives around their real estate goals, real estate related goals. The other thing is in our market, right? We go to the next slide. We understand that we went from 6 million homes in 2022, right, to 3, 4, and 5, and 4 million homes nationally. What do you think the reason for that is?
Rates,
Rates it could be a reason. What else?
well, prices,
Home prices. What else?
confidence,
Confidence, right? Affordability, volatility, like politics, regulation. Like there's a bunch of different variables, right? More specifically, what does Shift say about the reasons that people buy and sell? The Shift book. There are 2 reasons in that book that people buy and sell. Like some personal reasons. What's the other? It's a positive market expectation. It's a good market, right? What's success lies in the simple. We want to complicate everything. And yes, all of those things that Alan and I just went through are reasons that those 2 things specifically changed. Out of those 2 things, personal reasons, market expectations, based on all the variables that Alan and I just named, what changed in those 2 things? Positive market expectations. When you remove a reason that people buy and sell, what's going to happen to the overall population of buyers and sellers? It's going to go down, right? Which is what we feel today, right? So, given the fact that it's June, Jeff and I were talking about this earlier, it's a great time to reflect and really just review what we've done over the last 5-6 months. In the past, we've used a model called RESET, RES. Right? That stands for reflect, evaluate, simplicity, and simplicity, execute, and strategy. Right? So we wanted to talk about today one specific place that we should reflect on, and that's our lead flow. Given some of the variables that have existed in our market with market demand and easy leads kind of feeling like they've come down, right? But effort feeling like it has to be so much more, when in reality it actually doesn't. Do you have anything to add on all that?
Yeah, well, I'm about to, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I don't wanna steal your thunder.
oh, please take my time. So, the first thing that we wanted to talk about is these 4 strategies to reflect on our lead sources. What does the MREA say are the 3 L's to real estate?
Listings, leverage, lead.
That's right. Leads, listings, and leverage. In that order, really. Right? If I don't have enough leads coming into my business to hit my goal at the end of the year, what should I do? Solve that problem. Right? And then if I'm solving that problem, the next should be, am I finding enough listings to make my business more sustainable into the future and have more control? And then lastly, do I have leverage in systems, tools, and people in order to do it in the time that I want to allow? Right? So that I'm running my business and my business. Jeffrey, you gonna back?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well done. No, we just got some started, but. Oh my God. So when we think about leads, there are 5.
That happens to me when I think about leads.
Yeah, I started choking. It's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
So there are 4 things that we can do, right? That I would advise everybody to do. Jeff and I would advise everybody to do, encourage it to, in examining and reflecting on specifically our leads. The first is track the truth. So write down all 10 lead sources and associate valid leads directly with closed sales. This is important. We should know where our business comes from. Over the last 12 months or over the last 6 months, how many closings did I have and where did they come? It truly does not take long, right? Just write them all down and then where did it come? 90% of the time, it's really not. 85% of the time, it's going to come from 4 of your top lead sources. In individual agent businesses, it typically just comes from sphere of influence agents. And then maybe open houses behind, or whatever that active agent list that is. And second, rank the output. Number them 1 to 10. Which one had the most? Which one had the least? With us?
The most what?
The most results. Yeah, the most results. So Sarah, if most of your business came from your neighborhood through open houses, that would be up toward the top. And then database is probably up there, or agent referrals, or past client referrals. I put past client referrals and like past client referrals. I kind of put that all into sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if majority, if you're going through it and you just see it all say sphere of influence, go a level deeper and then put it out and say, all right, these are agent referrals, these are past client referrals, and these are past client transactions. Right? So that you can identify just 3 core sources. Have anything on that?
Not
And then cut the fat. So take the bottom 5 and just get rid of them. I know that sounds a little scary. And we should be aiming our resources, number 4, to the highest dollar producing activities. I have my coach's name, his name is Matt Teeter. Guy's changed my life. One thing that guy constantly does is challenge every new idea I have. Specifically because he thinks some of them actually work, or maybe that's just me saying it, but most of them, he challenges them and forces me to go back to the things that I know that I'm avoiding that do actually work because of the proven results I've already gotten. So identifying the things that I no longer have to do that nobody would notice is a really important strategy to work within the constraints that we want to work within from a life standpoint. So saying a simple question, what are things that I can stop doing right now around lead sources that if I was to stop doing, nobody would notice. We all tend to go to, what are the things we should start doing? Well, 24 hours is the great equalizer. Nobody in this room or anywhere else has more than 24 hours. Well, if you do, well, yet we tend to think that with the constraints we put on our business, we have to do less. If I only want to work 30 hours, that means I have to have less results. No, I just have to identify the highest dollar producing activity in those 30 and stop doing things. So I think the best filtering question we can use is, what can I stop doing that if I was to stop doing it, nobody would notice I stopped doing it? Right?
Yeah. And one thing I would say, you know, when you're about to jump into this, and if you're like me, often it's easier if you do this with a partner, right? If you sit down with somebody and hold each other accountable, that is also what we're here for. So if you would like to do that with me, please give me a call, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I would love the opportunity to kind of sit down with you and go through an exercise like this. I would take this also a little bit further and dive into some budgeting as well. You know, where are you spending your money now? Oftentimes you find that we're spending money on number 5, 6, 7, and 8 of our lead sources. And we can reallocate that up into the 1, 2, and 3 spot. And then you really see a massive return. So really taking the time to evaluate, and like Vince said at the beginning, you know, this is the perfect time of year to do it. We're right at that mid-year point. So we can make those corrections now and have the next 6 months to really kick it up, crush 26.
So great. There are two things that we are, two resources that, or there's really 3 resources that we're constantly spent: time, money, and energy. Well, we want to ensure that they're getting spent on the right things.
Right.
So just point around ensuring that the dollars, the time, and our energy is going to the thing that is returning the highest is a very valid and very important point to this entire exercise, right? Where's our energy going? It's so important. We always talk about time and money. What about our energy? Because that's actually going to create the other 2. We think about it, right? What's next? So motivated leads. We know that there are 2 things that are true in bringing people into our world. When we talk about leads, our perspective of leads is make new friends. And in order to do that, we have to attract them into our world with the right message and the right method. This is directly from the Shift book, Fascinating and and every other market. Right? Really is, actually. The simplicity of this is almost a norm. But our messaging has to match the market, and our method should match the way in which we like to show ourselves to the world. I'm just having this conversation about social media and this idea of, like, when I was a kid, did I want to be on TV? I realized that the answer was a resounding no. At all. Not at all. And over the last few years, there's been this crazy conversation about personal branding on social media, as well as marketing on social media, which to me in this day and age is TV. Mm-hmm. Well, does it always mean you have to do that? Yes, it's the fastest right now because it's the most people and the fastest way to create connection at the greatest scale. But that doesn't necessarily, and that's a method. Social media is a method. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the only method. There are other great methods of networking. Open houses, right? Still door knocking, fascinatingly enough, works, right? I know you make the face, but it actually does, but it's not authentic to you. See that? And that's okay. Mm-hmm. Right? Social media is the most authentic, right? I'll push there, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Or this, honestly, is not the most authentic, right? But it's okay because we do have to get outside of our comfort zone, but we have to balance it, right? So what is the method and what is the message? When we think about message, what does message really actually mean, right? Message is 2 pieces. Next, God bless you. And why? But right after you're done, just push the air.
I will add though, you see that you did not door knock, but you left flyers.
Have an invitations.
And that did help, correct? Did it help them? Potential listing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying,
You found a way to do it that felt okay to do,
Yes.
right?
I don't want anybody knocking on my door, so I'm not doing it to anybody.
Here, here.
I saw a sales guy the other day who was talking about that. He said, one of the best rules of sales is to sell the way you want to be sold to.
Yeah.
Right? So I agree 100%. And that doesn't, and that's going to be different for each person. Well, the beauty in that is that not everybody is going to work with you. Right? 25% of people like you, 25% of people don't, 50% of people don't care or are trying to figure it out. Well, who should we focus on in those groups?
Or that do like,
We should focus on the 25% of people that like us. And the easiest way to do that is probably sell to them or serve them the way that you would want to be served.
Be genuine.
Be genuine, be authentic, and come with value. When we think about our messaging, it comes in really one way. It's called a move. Also called a call to action, call that, as you would always say. And that's created in a really simple way. Right? What is the problem? Identify the problem. Right now, and it has to match the market. Right? Now I just talked about rates. Maybe rates can be a problem in this market, but we just learned about a loan program that could potentially be a solution for investors. So if I understood the problem, be it rates for investors, right? And then I marketed that particular solution to the problem, could I potentially get interest and generate more leads, aka more friends, into my database? Yeah, that's one example. Another example could be right now there are what we talked about a class with divorcees, right? Unfortunately, in this country, 58% of marriages end in divorce.
I'm doing one right now.
Yeah, see, and they're tough situations, and it's just a fact, and that creates a problem. And that creates a problem that we have the ability to solve in the real estate space with great partners, right? As well as being able to resolve and education.
That's around your most common my most common referral right now is divorces.
From a statistical standpoint, it absolutely makes sense. I know somebody that built a massive, coast to coast business through divorce attorneys because they looked at it from the numbers standpoint, realized that 50 to 58% of marriages end in divorce, and there are 3 transactions, not just one, through one person via the divorce attorney. From a business perspective, and if I'm good at conflict resolution, that's something that I can absolutely serve in. Right?
June 24th, you're gonna learn how to market it.
Right? So it makes sense. The MOFR that you're creating is simply identifying a problem, one that you can solve, whether it's on your own or whether it's with great partners or whether it's with great programs, and then marketing that solution to the masses. And here's most important, with reviews of the third-party testimonials that you've helped do it. Anything to that?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking of just earlier today, right? Earlier minutes ago, when Brandon was talking about his services and Kelly's talking about her services and the program that she has for investors. I mean, one of the things we have the ability to do is educate. And I think we sometimes over complicate things in our mind of like, oh, what am I going to do when I call them? How am I going to do my outreach? And what am I going to say? Are they going to see me as a value? And that's what we're doing, right? We're calling to educate individuals and help them, or I guess the second of this chapter talks about, it's motivate, and really assist them in finding a solution to obtain that goal that they want to get to eventually. And we're that source, right? We can provide them with a tremendous amount of information that can allow them to reach those goals. And I just think we kind of all hold back, right? Because we don't want to bother somebody by calling them or texting them or sending a message out. But in reality, once we actually do it and we target it appropriately, like you're saying, know your audience, it can change their lives and our own. So
that's right. What's next? So naturally, in creating these offers, there are 2 ways to do it. We talk about this all the time: prospecting and marketing. What's the difference between prospecting and marketing? There are two primary differences. Both very deep.
1-to-1 and 1-to-many.
1-to-1, 1-to-many to an extent. Prospecting can actually be 1-to-many as well, right? But depending on what you're doing, like a mofer would be more direct in approach and could be 1-to-many, right? 1-to-many with the same problem would be the idea. Yes, to an extent. Think about time and money. Those are really the two big differences, right? And then the last is control. So prospecting, you have control because it's an activity that you can control. It's typically more time intensive and less money intensive. So if I have less money to execute to deploy, so to speak, I'm probably going to be forced, right, to leverage more prospecting type activities. Whereas in marketing, I'm going to have less control, right? I'm going to spend more money, but I'll spend much less time because it's typically automated or working into the future. Do both of these work? That's key. That is key. If I want to build a sustainable business, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and it kind of changed this. In the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, it says that our businesses should be marketing based and prospecting enhanced.
Yeah.
In the book, it actually says what I just said. It's fascinating because they've changed it and they've never changed the book. Yeah, it's wild. It's always bothered me. I believe, I'll just say this, and we kind of talk a lot about this, believe a more controlled and sustainable business is built prospecting based and marketing based. Right?
That's right. That's what the book said.
It says marketing based prospecting.
Really?
99% sure.
I'm 1% sure.
See, I hope to God I'm wrong. I'm not sure it's marketing based prospecting enhanced. And it's always been a discussion. And they say it that way because they're looking at it from the standpoint of marketing should be always fun.
Yeah.
Whereas prospecting is what is enhancing the market. So whereas I look at it and say, if I don't have marketing, if I don't have prospecting, but just marketing, right, I'm probably going to be very directly tied to and correlated to what the market is doing. Whereas if I have, and I'm probably not going to have a tremendous amount of control of my business unless it's already been developed, right? Now, if I have a prospecting based business and no marketing, I'll probably be just fine. I just have to do a lot of prospecting, right? Anything to marketing prospecting? So lastly, I like this simply because this is all about our time. We've heard about the 80-20 principle, Pareto's principle. 20% of our activities account for 80% of our results. Going back to our initial concept around what can I stop doing that nobody would notice, I have to then spend 80% of my time doing those things that are getting majority of my results. Because when I spend 80% of my time doing the 80% of the things that don't, the 80% of things that don't account for 80% of the results, right? I am actually wasting 80% of my time. And I don't know that anybody in here likes wasting something that you never get back. So we have to evaluate our business and then ensure that we're putting our time into things that are highest dollar producing. Most of the time, that's also going to give us the most energy. Jeff and I had an awesome conversation this morning about how when we get into action on things, it actually changes our energy and it helps us find our authentic way to do X. It was an awesome concept. Don't wait until you feel like doing something. Start doing it and realize that all of a sudden you feel like doing it. Because motivation waxes and wanes, but our goals don't most of the time, right? So make sure we're putting our time where it makes the most sense. I'll let you go. And then lastly, well, I already said lastly, this feedback loop is really valuable. So you're actually starting on the far right, audit and cut. Focus on your top 5. In my opinion, focus on your top 4, right? Maybe even your top 3 are accounting for 80-90% of your business. Focus where majority of your business and your results coming from. Draft your message. Understand why those people work with you the problem that you're already solving for them, and then talk about it to everybody. And then shift your method. Understand that in this particular space, we have to actively be reaching out to people to help solve problems and to understand what their problems are, because I can't solve people's problems without me knowing about them. It's really hard to solve a problem without knowing about it. Right? Impossible. Right? So, and then practice. Stop practicing on people that would pay you. Practice on people and with people that will give you advice so that the people that then you go and talk to and meet with will pay. Does that make sense? We discount a lot of practice. I was thinking about the NFL the other day. Actually, Jeff and I were talking about this. They practice for 6 days and then play a game for 2 on Sunday. Literally 90%, 95% of their time is preparing and practicing for what they're going to execute in a 2-hour, 3-hour period. And they get paid millions. Why? Because they're the best at what they do, specifically because they spend so much time practicing, not because they spend so much time doing. That's it, or playing the game, so to speak. In business, we tend to do that completely the other way around and sometimes don't practice at all. Not necessarily the best strategy to say about who like it's kind of goofy, right? And then execute. Just go all out. What's one of the hardest things that I've dealt with over the last few years is being afraid to go all out on something that I was committed to, but I was worried about it not working. I'm worried about spending too much time on something that didn't work. How am I actually going to identify whether it works if I don't go all out? I can almost guarantee it fails if I don't go all out. So I actually am wasting more time if I just spend the time going all out. Isn't that funny how that works? We let our heads get in the way, which is why we say that 90% of this game is mindset, 10% of it is skill set.
Absolutely.
And why? Right? We've had this conversation a lot. And it's hard, but it's easier when we have the right people around us. So think about these concepts, and then what's the last slide? I hated this. We can evade reality, but we cannot evade the consequences of evading reality. There are 2 slides that we're not going to go through that talk about why Charleston is a little separated from the market and gives you some ideas of the national market, right? National market's flat, Charleston's up 2%, but there are a lot of great things that are happening in Charleston. From unemployment is around 3.4%, not the 4% or 4.2, whatever it is, right? There's more GDP growth in Charleston than there is in the country right now. I think it was just revised down to 1.6. I'm looking at you because I feel like they're, yeah. So if I was saying something wrong, tell me. But there's all kinds of cool things that we can talk about as to why people should be okay with real estate in Austin.
Before you dive into the one thing, Brandon, you had mentioned earlier, or you said you have an app that kind of records your sales calls, right? What was the name of that?
Pocket.
Pocket. Okay. So for those that are going to be making calls to sphere of influence, prospecting calls, making friends, however you want to refer to it, that Pocket platform, what it does, it will record your call so that you can then listen back and kind of get some feedback as to how those calls went. So part of that, definitely very important to do the practicing on, us with a peer.
Yeah.
But then when you are actually putting it to action, it would be a great way to kind of get a sense as to how you're really doing, so you can keep fine tuning as you go along. So that's when you mentioned that.
So there's one called Pocket AI Voice Recorder. There's one called Claude Note Pro. It attaches to the back of your phone. It'll hear what you're saying, but it also uses the vibrations on the phone to actually kind of pick up on the whole conversation. It'll transcribe it, and then you can attach it to an AI-based model like ChatGPT or Claude, and then say, hey, every phone call, I want you to evaluate and give me a grade on how I'm doing on this sales call, and train me like real time on how to do this. So I had my grades grading me from on a scale of 1 to 10. I was hitting 5s, 4s when I started. Within a week, I was consistently hitting 8. Just all these little tweaks in the moment as if the coach is sitting right there with me.
And what's cool about that is you get to do that with an AI tool and not be embarrassed by doing it with somebody. So, right. So there are ways to do and practice without sometimes the repercussions of practice, right? Because nobody in this room likes to be wrong or look bad. We all want to be right, look good. So here's a way you can do it.
Check out my office. I have to sit in his. It's been the whole time. No pressure.
No pressure at all. Stay good. So we will go through those two slides. We won't go through those two slides, but Jeff put together some awesome scripts, really dialogues to think about as you're having conversations, whether it's a life plans conversation, whether it's what's the other one? A texting outreach, right? A consultation type script or dialogue. Much of this is based on one simple method or one simple model called FORD. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And one of the coolest things we heard in a mastermind with Gary Keller that I think we both took from was he said to me, if I don't know what I should say to somebody or what I should send out to somebody, make sure they do one of these three things. It makes them money, makes them smarter, or it saves them time. If it does one of those three things, it's going to be valuable. Makes them money, saves them time, or what was the other one? Makes them valuable, or it makes them smart. It's like clearly need you like getting new stuff to make me smart. So with that, do you have anything to close with?
Yeah, and the reason, so with those scripts, obviously they're just samples, they're just some ideas. It's really just to help you kind of get flowing with your own, talk tracks. But one thing I always say too, if you're really not comfortable picking up the phone and making those calls, then go with text. It's better to do that than have no proactive outreach going on in your business. So there's nothing wrong with doing text versus phone. I encourage phone, but any kind of engagement is better than not, right? And at least both of those allow you to start having a real conversation. And that's really what we all need to be doing more often, and especially as market shifts, we need to make sure we're putting ourselves out there, educating our people, and staying connected with them. Because as the market changes, sales go down, right? Number of opportunities go down. We all want to be the ones capturing every opportunity we possibly can, making sure we're not losing it out to somebody down the road. So,
All right, team, that's all we have for you today. If you need anything, let us know. Here's my calendar. You can always schedule a meeting. We're hoping to be in business with you. Go out there and crush it and just serve. Go and lead with value, not with transaction, and think about the long-term sustainability and how to get farming. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
I think. I had to have a